Hello and good evening. So today we are going to get started on the campaign for the original Starcraft. So this is the game released back in 1998 that was remastered much more recently, but they kept the game more or less as is, and they changed the graphics basically. So it's actually got a really nice storyline all in all, and it's just interesting to play through. So I'm going to play it in order, the whole thing. So we start out in the Terran campaign, moving on afterward to the Zerg and the Protoss, and then afterward moving on to the expansion. We're going to do this mission by mission, and I will remind everyone that I am most definitely not a pro player of any kind. I'm just a regular gamer. So, without any further ado, let's get started on that Terran campaign. In the decades since the end of the Guild Wars, the oppressive Terran Confederacy has stood unchallenged in its supremacy over colonized space. All of that changed 4 days ago, when a large alien fleet emerged from warp space and laid waste to the unsuspecting Confederate colony of Chowsara. The Confederacy, hearing that the alien fleet's next target will be the colony of Marsara, has sent you to intervene. Acting as magistrate, you are to safeguard the colonists and keep their state of panic from escalating any further. We are actually going to skip the tutorial mission altogether because, well, to be honest with you, I know how to play this game and it just goes over the controls.
Adjutant online. Good evening, Magistrate. I'll fill you in on what's been happening. Confederate traffic has increased substantially within the system due to the recent Protoss destruction of the Chowsara colony. The Confederates have tightened security on all outlying systems, and it's likely that this colony will be locked down as well. An encrypted Confederate transmission came for you while you were at dinner. Replaying transmission.
Greetings, Magistrate. I'm General Edmund Duke of the Confederate Security Forces Alpha Squadron. The Confederacy has quarantined this entire planet, and we'll proceed with a lockdown within 48 hours. You're to relocate your core colonists to the outlying wastelands. Now, I know there won't be any problems with these new arrangements.
Transmission ended. I have contacted the local marshal, James Rayner. Rayner has agreed to meet your personnel en route and escort them to the new wasteland site.
So there we have it. That's the initial setup for what we're going to need to do. So the objectives of this mission are simply to find Rayner, build myself a barracks, and train up 10 Marines. Alright. So, excuse me, I just had... So let's get this thing started. So you start the mission with all of not a whole lot going on. Got a command center down at the end. So we're being sent off to some remote region. Some godforsaken remote region. Okay, let us just make sure that the game settings are actually... Yes, they are good. Alright. So really, I'm just moving down along to see where... Here we go.
Howdy, boys. I'm Jim Rayner, Marshal of these parts.
I read you.
Alright, and now that I've found James Raynor, I'm told that he must survive at all costs. So those were a couple of Zerglings. The Zerglings would have not have done a whole lot actually, they're not very strong by themselves. So let's get these SCVs mining and get rolling. Really, there's not a lot to do in this initial mission. You simply build a barracks, train up some Marines, and the mission's over. Could, I suppose, build more SCVs to get them mining faster, but there are very few resources and there's not a lot to do afterward. So we set up an SCV to build the barracks, and that music is seeming loud, but I can't put it any lower than that. And welcome to the stream, guys. So the mission objective here, really simple. I have to train some Marines, and then the mission will be complete. And so at this point, I just wait till the barracks is finished and I just get the Marines started. I am sorry guys, but I am not going to be singing on stream. Under any circumstances.
You want a piece of me, boy?
As I'm looking into the chat, it is generally best if your 1-year-old is not the one typing in, but I guess it's not going to be too big a problem here.
You want a piece of me, boy?
And no worries about it.
You want a piece of me, boy?
So that is the full extent of the first mission. Really, this whole thing is just to set up the meeting with James Raynor, the marshal of the area, to introduce you, I guess. And from there, the story gets started. So from here, we're now relegated to some wasteland, and now...
Receiving incoming transmission. Comlink established.
Hey, what's up, man? Got your refugees tucked in nice and tight? Provided you can sidestep any more surprises from our Confederate friends and we can keep them away from those critters, they should have an easy time.
Priority alert. Backwater station under attack by unknown alien organisms. Distress beacon activated at 0658. Alerting Confederate headquarters on Tarsonis. Stand by for incoming transmission.
We've already received the distress beacon from Backwater, and we'll take care of it. You just sit tight. You'll be notified if there's anything we think you need to know.
Damn. Listen, if we wait for Confederate reinforcements, that station's dust. I'll head out there now and do what I can. You send in some militia, and we'll save those folks. Trust me.
Fateful words, those.
Glad to see you, boys. Time to kick some serious butt.
So in short, we are under rule of the Confederacy, and we don't like it very much. So now we have this appearance of this alien race that nobody really knows. And now is a matter of saving a colony that's being attacked by them.
This should be good. SCV good to go, sir.
those aliens.
You want a piece of me, boy? Give me some of this shit. Here. Right on. What the hell is that? Looks like the ground there is alive. This should be
Enough said, really. Purple jelly crawling across the floor.
standing by. Go, go, go.
So with that, we're going to keep our
SCV good to go, sir.
SCV production as regular as possible, because resources are a good thing to have in this game.
You want a piece of me, boy?
You know, probably the same for most RTSs.
Not enough minerals.
But in the meantime, let's clear out a bit of this.
SCV good to go, sir.
Needless to say, the game, being as old as it is, has certain quirks about it. And you'll notice that a lot of the time they have trouble with walking around each other, walking in straight lines, that sort of thing.
We've been holed up in these bunkers for days, hiding from the sir.
These things have been out here a while, but they could be pretty useful.
But with all that said, it's still quite a fun game to play.
Reporting for duty.
So what have we got up here? Well, we have another base.
SCV good to go.
I suppose that's already accounting for something.
SCV good to go, sir.
So this here, you've got the Academy. We're going to get this upgrade for the Marine Attack Range.
I read you.
It's
Right away, sir.
indispensable, not just useful.
Give me some of this shoot. Let's move.
We are introduced to the Firebat, which has a short range but a strong attack against light enemies such as Zerglings.
SCV good to go, sir.
Now, of course, in the story we don't really know what a Zergling is, but that's a detail. So let us get a bit more of a standing force. We're going to build an engineering bay because we can get some upgrades there.
You want a piece of me, boy? You want a piece of me, boy?
Not enough minerals.
Commander.
Yeah, I talked about the difficulty walking in a straight line earlier. Sometimes if you have a unit too thoroughly surrounded when you tell them all to move,
Complete.
they end up just not moving, really. Okay, so let's get these two coming up here. Do we have any gas up in here? No, we do not. Alright.
Standing by. Rock and roll anytime you're ready. Oh, yeah. Standing by.
Where is Raynor going? That could just as well be a game for anyone. Where is such and such unit going? So, now that that's finished, let's get a couple of these mining gas, get an upgrade started.
Insufficient Vespene gas.
Okay, or not get an upgrade started because we don't have any gas. So in this game, you've got two resources for those who are unaware. You have minerals mined from these patches, and you have gas, where you have to build one of these refineries on. As soon as you start raising in tech, you start needing that gas for just about everything. The more advanced the tech, the more gas you need.
Anytime you're ready.
Alright, so that should be enough. Let's get moving and take out this pile of Zerglings. Alright, so that's just outside the base, and now we're going to start being introduced to Zerg Hydralisks. They're a ranged attacker from the Zerg who, well, they don't hurt too bad, but they are the ubiquitous Zerg unit, even more so than the Zergling.
Your forces are under attack.
These guys are just going to stand at the ramp, so let's get them to actually participate further up. So this is what we've got left of our standing forces. Alright.
What the hell do they do to that command center? Whatever it is, it ain't natural. Burn it, boys.
So the Zerg can do some interesting stuff to command centers. Not good. So we get that down. And that's the end of that. We just destroyed a Confederate command center.
Receiving incoming transmission.
Marshal Reno, by destroying the vital Confederate installation, you and your men have violated standard colonial law. As of right now, you're all under arrest. I suggest you throw down your weapons and come peaceably.
Now you're out of your mind. If we hadn't burned that damn factory, this entire colony could have been overrun. Maybe if you hadn't taken your sweet time in getting here.
I asked you last the first time, boy. I didn't come here to talk with you. Now throw down them weapons.
Guess you wouldn't be a Confederate if you weren't a complete ass.
Once more, enough said. So that is our introduction to the Zerg. Okay. Whoa. Okay, that got really loud real fast there.
Hey Sarge, why we always gotta listen to this shit for anyway?
Cause I'm in charge, that's why.
Oh, it don't seem like no good kind of reason to me. Also, hey, what's that?
Hold on a minute, a second. Steamroller!
Looks like you mashed some poor feller's dog, Sarge.
It's a Zerglin, Lester. Smaller type of Zerg. But he'd be out this far unless... Oh, shit.
I love you, Sarge.
And so we're seeing that appearances of the Zerg are increasing and
Receiving incoming transmission.
encountering the local
Colony
populace.
established.
I got your message, Magistrate. And frankly, I don't care what you have to say about Confederate regulations. You damn fringe world yokels are all alike. Don't know where your loyalties lie. Y'all have a real good day now, you hear?
Transmission ended. The report you requested is ready. 16 outland stations have reported sightings of the alien invaders identified as Zerg. The Confederates have arrested all standing militia forces and continue to avoid action against the Zerg. 3 stations have fallen to the Zerg already. We've been unable to locate any source of military relief except the extremist faction known as the Sons of Korhal. Their liaison is holding online.
Good day, Magistrate. My name is Arcturus Mensk, and I represent the Sons of Korhal. You're familiar with the Confederate propaganda surrounding my group, but your reputation suggests you'll see past it. It's never been our practice to operate in any one place for long, but these Zerg don't look like they're going to wait. I'm going to make you an offer, Magistrate. I'd like to help you out by sending down a number of transports to your colony and evacuating any survivors. You know, of course, that my organization operates outside the bounds of Confederate law. That's why they spread their lies and misinformation. If you decide to accept our help, you'll be branded as an outlaw too. But it's a chance to save those people. Time to make a stand, Magistrate.
Ending transmission. Priority alert. Evacuation zone under attack by Zerg forces. Distress beacon activated at 12:20.
So the next mission is survive. Alright. Good guy Minx coming to help us out, huh?
Thing's on fire. You ought to send an SCV out here to repair it. You can fix my backup too while he's at it.
Well, for the moment, let's make good on that mission objective and just make sure we don't get overrun.
Right away, sir.
Later we'll see if we can take the fight to the Zerg.
Take cover in these bunkers if things get too dicey. SCV good to go, sir.
Alright. So the long and short of it, all of our previous forces were arrested. We are now considered outlaws, or we will be in just a moment. All because the ruling faction doesn't actually want to do anything against the Zerg that are popping up all over the place. Seems about right to me.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Orders received. SCV good to go, sir.
Let's get some more supply depots, because as we can see in the upper corner, we're running a little full on forces. It's not a one-to-one, one unit per supply, but each unit usually costs either, in this case, say the Marine costs 1, a Fire Bat costs 1, but if I were to go to stronger units a little later in the game, that can cost 2, 4, even as much as 8. It's directly proportional to how strong the individual unit is. So we build our forces accordingly. For now, let's go fix up that bunker. Send a Marine to fill out the last slot in each of these bunkers. They can hold up to 4 Marines. They can also hold Fire Bats, trainable here, which would be useful against Zerglings, but a lot less useful against everything else. This is the reason I'm not overly fond of them. So here's what we're doing here. SCVs. Lots and lots of SCVs. All while listening to fantastic Starcraft music. You might notice that the timer at the top of the screen is going a little fast for that so-called 30 minutes. At the highest game speed, it actually does go faster than their originally designed time. But this is the standard game speed if you play multiplayer. So, just ended up getting used to this speed. As soon as we have 100 gas, we'll upgrade infantry weapons. That'll make Marines deal more damage. When you mouse over their weapon, their attack, it tells you how much damage it deals. You can actually see how many hit points each unit has as well. Moreover, if you mouse over their armor, you can see how much damage reduction that individual unit gets. It's a straight 1-to-1. If they have an armor rating, they will actually receive that much less damage. If they have 1 armor, they get 1 less damage from a hit. So it's still a useful thing to get as an upgrade. But of course, the bigger the attacks get, the less useful that armor becomes. Okay, so let's get a second barracks because our resources are piling up faster than we're spending them, which is a surefire sign that our income is good and healthy. So we're already almost 1/3 of the way through the mission. Oh, and in come the flyers.
Forces are under attack.
Yeah, so that, needless to say, was not such a good sign. They start attacking the SCVs, which are kinda defenseless. So let's put a missile turret over here. This is your standard static anti-air defense. It doesn't move, it doesn't cost any supply. But if an enemy air unit comes in range, it'll just attack. So we build them around the SCVs so that next time that a flyer comes by, they won't take as much damage. Okay, is anything else taking damage? Nope. Alright. Let's build a third barracks for fun. How many Marines do we have over here?
Complete.
Let's get that armor upgrade. Alrighty. So let's get a few firebats in here to deal with Zerglings as they come by.
Base is under attack.
Base is under attack. Alright, here's our little message that a Vespene geyser was depleted. That means that now instead of getting 8 gas per trip, the SCVs will be bringing back 2. So that's going to severely limit our resources. As for what I'm building over here, the ComSat station lets me get brief visibility anywhere on the map at the cost of its own energy, shown down here in white.
Add-on complete.
Okay. So let's build just a handful more.
Your forces are under attack.
Let's just build a handful more of those firebats and marines. And let's actually go out and try to take the fight to them. We've got our defenses in place, so we should be able to avoid getting overrun. You might notice I'm able to select them quickly. This is because I'm assigning them to hotkeys. When you do the tutorials, you're actually shown how to do these, how to do all this. So let's take this ComSat. Take a look over here. It lets me see there are a bunch of these guys burrowed underground. Since it's just Zerglings, I'm not too worried about it. So with that, clears up a few of them right in front. Let's come back and try to keep marine production going. And it's just these little go forward. And here we have the Zerg static defense, the sunken colony. It actually deals a good bit of damage per hit, but it attacks slowly.
Upgrade complete.
Which is why you don't normally rely exclusively on static defense. Alright. So I'm hearing that the stream is frozen. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see what's going on here. Well, I don't actually see what might be happening right now. So sorry guys, I don't think there's a whole lot that I can do on my end to unfreeze it. Because I don't actually see anything that's happening that might be affecting the stream. Let me know if it if at any point it ends up unfreezing, but if it doesn't do that within the next couple of minutes, we'll see if we can just reload the stream on my end as well. Well, like I said, let me know if it stays frozen. Well, if I have to restart the stream, I'll restart the stream. But please do let me know.
Job finished. Orders, Captain? Roger that.
In the meantime, let's get this going. So here we have come across a Zerg base, from the look of it.
Your forces are under attack.
Alright, glad to see that it's working better. Incidentally, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but OPZ, welcome to the stream and thanks for the follow.
Your forces are under attack.
Alright. So we seem to be having a few troubles back home over here.
Your forces are under attack.
So I'm not going to get too worried about them right now. Let's just see where they're going. See, this is why I don't like fire bats, is because they kind of go off on their own and don't have very much range, so they end up walking pretty far away. But we're okay. We're okay. We're moving on. Alright, how many fire bats do we have left?
Your forces are under attack.
And so we're moving forward. Oh. It looks like this sunken colony over here is wrecking my face down here. They may not be the most effective, but you also don't want to ignore them. It's usually how it goes. They have to be effective enough that you can't ignore them. But if they're too effective, then it's overpowered. Alright. Alright, 10 minutes. Let's see if we can finish them off within the next 10 minutes. Game time, 10 minutes, so that's maybe 7 minutes real time.
Your forces forces are
So
under
meanwhile,
attack.
let's come back here. And just for funsies, let's research Stim Pack. Now, Stim Pack is an interesting little ability for Marines and Firebats. It takes away 10 health points, which is a substantial amount of their health when you think about it, and lets them move and attack at double speed for about 10 seconds. And I just went and sacrificed all my Marines to the Zerg gods. Alright. I think I'm gonna have to rebuild my standing forces here.
Research complete.
So that did not go as well as it was supposed to, but hey, that's what happens when you're not following the objectives, right? They said survive, I said, hey, let's see if we can take them out. Alright, now it's normally not good practice to queue up your units, but we're not playing a intense competitive multiplayer match, we're just playing for fun. So let's go for round 2, see if we can finish them off before the timer runs out. As a note, if you choose not to attack the Zerg, their attack waves actually get quite large by this point, because they are actually attacking from this base. Do they have any? No, they don't even have any upgrades. Alright. So, no Firebats this time. We're just going strictly Marines. You guys, do some drugs and attack even faster than usual. That's basically what the stim packs amount to. So for just a few seconds, they'll attack faster than usual, move faster than usual, and in the lore of the universe, there's supposed to be talk of concerns regarding addiction. Marines doing stim.
5 minutes until dropship arrival.
So just a couple minutes, dropships will be there. I guess I must have missed a drone or something, because they're real. Yeah.
Your forces are under attack.
So the drone is the Zerg worker unit. The one that actually builds, well, everything. Also gathers resources. So if I miss one, they can rebuild their base. So let's fan the forces out a little. Uh-oh. I just messed up a hotkey. That's a fun thing that'll happen sometimes. So when you meant to hit one button, you hit another, and now your hotkeys are all messed up.
Your forces are under attack.
Okay. So with 3 in-game minutes left to go, we're just about cleared up. I see a large mass of overlords, the flying supply unit. Don't know what they're all doing here, but the AI is interesting that way sometimes. Speaking of interesting AI, I don't know how they ended up over here, where the rest of their group is over there. But that's the pathing back in 1998. And as I was mentioning at the beginning of the stream, they redid the graphics in this remaster, but they didn't touch the actual gameplay. So some of the interesting pathing issues that happened will still happen. Interesting quirks of the game. So you get to experience it in all of its 1998 era glory, just prettier. Much prettier. So I don't think there's even a single Zerg left on the map right now. With the timer running out,
1 minute until dropship arrival.
but since it's only that little time, I guess we'll just let it run out. Let the music play.
Sons of Korhal dropships approaching.
Strap yourselves in, boys.
And there we go. So we did clear the map. And so now, onward we go. 3 hours after the evacuation.
Your tenure as Colonial Magistrate is suspended, pending an official investigation of your affiliation with the Sons of Korhal. Receiving incoming transmission.
Hey, man. Arcturus's boys sprung me from the prison ship. Apparently they're as frustrated with the Confederates as we are. I know their reputation, but they seem to be on the level. I think Arcturus wanted to speak with you.
Commander, Mar Sara is almost completely overrun by the Zerg. The Confederates are abandoning the planet, and so are we. However, there is one thing I'd like to do before we leave. I want you to raid this colony's Confederate outpost and retrieve whatever design or weapons schematics that you can find in their networks. With the chaos of the Confederates' evacuation, you shouldn't have any trouble getting in or out of their installation.
I'm into it.
Alright, so now we have to retrieve data disks from a Confederate network, and Raynor must survive. So no bases this time around. You've got your standing force, and that's it. They've been upgraded to the max, which is a +3 upgrade. The fun part is that not every attack upgrade upgrades only 1 damage, as noted here. So some units benefit more than others. And we've got Raynor himself joining in, and he is tanky as all get out. Which is good, because we've got a bit of walking to do in here. And there are some traps along the way. For instance, that one there. I thought there was one on the wall before, but I was clearly wrong. Now, as much as I have played this game... Oh. As much as I've played this before, I don't actually remember where everything is. And I must say I tend to be a little worse at these missions where you don't get a base and you can't reinforce yourself. So let's see how well this goes. So let's go this way, see what comes of it. Yeah, let's go up here. Figure usually, opening doors or enemy units are a good sign we're going the right way. Automatic defense system deactivated. That sounds good, actually. Probably means less turrets along the way.
That should be good.
No complaints there.
Oh yeah. Sounds fun. Oh yeah. That should be good.
So these guys we're encountering are basically civilian scientists, engineers, workers, whatever, working in the Confederacy. So, I don't know that we're doing the best thing by taking them all out, but they're military units.
Sounds fun.
They enlisted. It's their fault.
Oh yeah. Sounds fun. Oh yeah. Sounds fun. Oh yeah. Sounds fun. Oh yeah.
Okay. So I was talking about the 1998 era pathing. You may have noticed they're having quite a bit of difficulty navigating those stairs.
Sounds fun. Oh yeah. Sounds fun. Oh yeah. That should be good. Right on. Oh yeah. That should be good. Oh yeah.
Teleportation field activated.
Teleportation. Out to this area.
Oh yeah.
Unauthorized entry detected.
It's there. Blast on. Right on. Oh yeah. Sounds fun. That should be good.
So the difference between more recent games and things like this is instead of having the unit speak, that's just a sound clip.
Sounds fun.
As noted by the fact that the guy who was allegedly speaking got blasted long before he finished speaking, yet he was still able to finish his speech.
That should be good.
Fun little things.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, looks like I went exactly the right way the first time around on everything, and I totally lucked out. Ooh, Confederate Ghost.
Anytime you're ready. Right on. That should be good. Oh yeah.
Your special assassin.
Oh yeah.
So, we didn't end up encountering it, but it turns out that the Confederates knew all about the Zerg because there are some in the facility being studied, and anyway, it's kind of a side detail, but it's kind of important to know that that they do know about them. Enough said.
Hey, we found the plans, man. And the transport's waiting when we come out.
Well, that's it for that mission. We found the discs, and now we get out of there. 4.5 minutes. I'll take it. In the wake of the chaos resulting from the Zerg invasion, the Sons of Korhal escaped with the stolen data discs. Fleeing to the border colony of Antigua Prime, Arcturus' group now plans its next crucial moves against the Confederacy. 13 hours after the evacuation of Marsara, Protoss warships took orbit around the colony and unleashed a massive planetary bombardment. All life on the surface was extinguished. So I guess it's a good thing we got out of there fast.
Hey, Matt. Headquarters has begun analysis of the discs. They expect to have them decoded shortly. I hope whatever's on those discs is worth it.
Receiving incoming transmission from Arcturus Minsk.
You and Captain Rayna have done well, Commander. I believe our efforts have weakened the Confederacy's grip on the fringe worlds. But our job out here isn't done yet. Lieutenant Kerrigan, my second in command, will elaborate.
I'll get straight to the point. Our sources tell us that Antigua Prime is ready to begin open revolt against the Confederacy. Unfortunately, the Confederates seem to be aware of this as well. They've stationed a large detachment of Alpha Squadron troops there under the command of General Duke.
It will be your job, Commander, to free this colony and show our good intent to the Antiguan people. Lieutenant Kerrigan will help you deal with Duke's officers. The rest of the Confederates are yours to deal with.
Alright, so, in short, we are going to be joined by Sarah Kerrigan, another important character in this storyline. We need to bring Kerrigan to the Antiguan Command Center, defend the Antiguan rebels, and both Rayner and Kerrigan must survive.
Go ahead, Commander. Right on.
Which means we don't start out with a
This
base.
should be good.
Alright. But
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy's back on his bike.
Go ahead, Commander.
Captain Rayner, I finished scouting out the area and... You pig!
What? I haven't even said anything to you yet.
Yeah, but you were thinking it.
Oh, yeah. You're a telepath. Look, let's just get on with this, okay?
Right.
So, Rayner's having some not-so-pure thoughts about Kerrigan. If we're gonna be honest, I think all of us would too. Anywho,
Reporting. I read you.
she can read his mind, and that's not good for him.
They can sense me even when I'm cloaked. We should take these out.
So what she's referring to is the fact that they are detectors. This means that they can see units that are burrowed or cloaked. So that's going to be something to keep note of.
Thinking the same thing. I gotcha. Thinking the same thing.
So I'm just making sure that Kerrigan does not take the lead, because after all, we
I gotcha.
can't actually heal her up.
What now?
Ghosts have an interesting little ability where they can completely shut down a mechanical unit for a kind of extended period of time. Lockdown. That did not do... It wasn't overly useful there, given that it was taken out real quick. Alright. So, we just need to get Kerrigan to this beacon over here. I see bunkers on the high ground belonging to the purple Antigans, and bunkers on the low ground belonging to the enemy, the Confederacy.
I gotcha.
Can she attack that turret from out of the range of the bunker?
I read you. I gotcha.
Doesn't look like it.
I read you.
Let's just walk on by.
It'd be a pleasure.
Get out of range of the missile turret, and just walk by,
Gotcha.
cloaked,
Thinking the same thing.
and get on in there.
I've taken care of business on this end, Commander. I think the Antigans are ready to back us up, too.
That's right. We've tolerated these Confederate goons long enough.
Base is under attack.
Incidentally, Broccoli Cup, welcome to the stream. And yeah, we're playing through the HD remaster of the original campaign.
Base is under attack.
Just for fun. We're not, you'll quickly see that I'm not exactly playing at a super high level. So in a sense, it kind of acts as proof that if you get to know the game, anybody can do it too.
Picking up a large Confederate strike force.
I promise.
advancing in our position.
Well, they're not wasting any time. I'm ready. I gotcha. Thinking the same thing.
Alright, can we get in range of this? Yeah,
I read
you can, but then they can shoot back. So let's forget that for now. It's not important. Alright, what have we got for everything? Got our barracks down here. Okay. So from memory, what the way that this mission works is that we've got a nice big river running across here and down along the bottom. And there's a big base on the other side of the river.
Piece of me, boy.
That means that from the starport, I need to get something that'll let me get onto the other side. Now, yes, I can build a large number of wraiths and just attack from there. But I prefer to approach it with marines. So that's how we're gonna approach it. So let's get our economy up and running first. because, well, that's ultimately the first order of business for everything. Okay, let's move this a little closer to the geyser, because that's actually more important. And the SCVs will react as soon as it hits the ground again. Right? Yes. Now we've got enough Marines down here. We can actually just go and take out that other bunker. So let's keep the Marine production, or the SCV production going rather. Build a supply depot because I don't want to end up overloaded on forces either. Ho ho! That was a bad idea. Let's get the bunkers to work on this. Okay, so I did not realize that they had unloaded an entire transport's worth of units right there. So let's rebuild our forces, shall we not? All right, let's get these SCVs mining. We'll get to building everything else in the meantime when we have resources for it. Also, thank you for the heads up on the sound. I actually was trying to make sure that went well. So I'm really glad to hear that it's all going well. So Broccoli Cup, thank you for the follow. I'll try to make sure that that the content is worthwhile. So let's get these forces up and running again, and let's try that again.
SCV good to go, sir. Commander, go, go, go.
Okay. You know what we don't have? We don't have an engineering bay to upgrade our forces. Let's fix that up.
Orders received. You want a piece of me, boy? Standing by. Let's move.
Is that really all the Marines I've got? Well, I need to keep on going.
SCV good to go, sir.
So let's keep Kerrigan over here this time, because she has a much greater field of vision, so she can see if there's a whole huge force waiting just outside of vision range. It does not seem to be the case. So let's upgrade our attack first. And let's get these boys going. Looks like they're still in there. So when they're holed up in their bunkers, they can really dish out the hurt. Just a few Marines in a bunker. Doesn't take very much. But we damaged it enough that it's going to burn down.
Lieutenant Kerrigan reporting. Thinking the same thing.
And from here, Kerrigan will have a much easier time taking them down, or just bringing them in range of a bunker.
I gotcha. Thinking the same thing. I read ya.
Fire bats coming from the other side.
It'd be approved. I read ya.
Reporting in. Attack formation.
And then thankfully we had a Wraith over here that warned us in time. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to build a bunker here. And put some Marines in it. As they say, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? So if the...
SCV good to go, sir.
If those bunkers work well against me, they should work well for me as well. So we're making lots and lots of Marines, but we're gonna need a way to get them across the water. And that's where these dropships come in. Now, they'll need to be escorted by a couple wraiths, but the bulk of the forces will be those Marines. So let's build, I don't know, 4 wraiths ought to do. We're just talking about clearing a path after all. But we need enough gas for this. Uh-oh. Looks like my supply is about to cap. And I never built an academy. Okay. Let's get one of these guys out here, build an academy. Because that upgrade to the Marine range is one we're not going to be able to do without.
Additional supply depots required.
It's built, I promise. Okay, so my Marines now have a little more attack power. Incidentally, so does Kerrigan. Not a lot, but it's something. And their armor should be upgraded by the time we go to attack anyway. So when you have your command center close enough to the geyser, this is what I was doing earlier, it only takes 3 SCVs to mine optimally. If it's too far, it'll take more. Right. Let's get that range upgrade. We're also going to build more barracks. Yeah, that's going to be the bottleneck. As I was mentioning a couple levels ago, the higher the tech unit, the more gas they end up costing, right? Well, the Wraith costs a good bit, as too does the dropship. Whereas my Marines down here don't actually cost any gas. 50 minerals a pop. It's another reason we're going with mainly Marines, is because it would take a long time to have enough gas to properly do this. You get there eventually, but I'm a bit impatient about it. Okay, so we shouldn't need these guys over here. Let's move them to the other bunker. Let's get the stim pack, even though we might never end up using it. The way we're going to approach this is as soon as the third dropship is finished. Okay, I didn't think I'd end up needing the other bunker, but apparently I was wrong. We're fine.
I'm listening. In the 5.
Terran music, best music. All right, let's get the third dropship rolling. And let's build our ComSat tower. ComSat station, excuse me. But we are going to need that on the other side of the river. Because it's, I remember it being pretty ugly without it. And the reason for that has everything to do with one particular unit that they're building in bulk that I could build, but I frankly don't want to. The Vulture gets an ability called the Spider Mine. Now, the damage they deal is quite significant, and it's a splash. So that's quite effective, I must say. I'm actually going to go lay his down over here. If an enemy ground unit comes close to it, it pops out of the ground and then starts running after them. Like something out of a horror movie. And then if it gets close, it just detonates for massive damage. over a large area. Once a vulture has laid all his mines, well, that's it. He actually doesn't get any more. Alright, so let's load up the first bunch of Marines. You can get 8 Marines per dropship, which is a kind of awkward number to work with, but we'll make it work. And how about we research Cloak to make our Wraiths last just a little longer. Upgrades are complete. We'll make sure that the next round of Marines is ready by the time we unload. Alright, so they're not running face first into a brick wall, essentially. So, we're running out of room to build more of these supply depots. How much longer does Cloak have? It's looks to be close enough. By the time we get to the combat, it should be ready to go.
Research complete.
So let's cloak up, and let's clear the air. So we want to make sure that the air zone is safe for the dropships. And as you can see, Wraiths are kind of effective air to air. Not very effective air to ground, though. They can manage, but we want better than being able to manage. We want them to actually be effective. There's a reason that we're not relying on them too heavily here. If we could just get these Goliaths to stop showing up. The main part is we want to get rid of those Wraiths. Because the Wraiths and the Goliaths, really, by association, will wreck our dropships faster than we'll even know what happened. Oh, there's another Wraith that showed up over here. Let's get rid of him before it's too late.
Destination. Strap yourself in, boys. Go ahead, HQ.
Alright, and let's unload our Marines. We'll be able to make much shorter work of their ground forces than these Wraiths do. Alright, now we have our comm set. Okay, there's nothing. So yeah, you might have seen it right before it disappeared. There are some mines in the ground around here. So we are going to be scanning as we move forward. But we got to take down the base down here. That is the objective. So let's get a spare SCV over here to make another command center somewhere, for the sake of getting another ComSat tower. Okay. Do a little scan, kill off some mines, and move forward. And while we're moving forward, let's bring the second batch of Marines over too. Setting up the hotkeys. This way it'll be easier to control them when we get down to the bottom.
We're in for some chop. I
tell them to unload over here.
Checked up and good to go.
It should be well within the zone that we cleared earlier with the wraiths. And with this many Marines, I don't expect we're going to have any kind of problems clearing out this base. So let's just attack in, scanning in front of them, just in case. I don't remember where the mines are, but I know there are mines around. And just tell them to attack in. Okay, now. Kick scan, there's a mine. And now we just told the Marines to have at it. And as they progress, we're slowly going to be adding in some scans, just to make sure they don't get, that the entire force doesn't get blown up by one stray mine. So ultimately the objective is to destroy this base. So once that's done, I don't think we need to chase down each individual unit. Destroy the 2 supply depots, and that'll be the end of it, I think. Oh, missile turret. And so we've cleared out the Confederate base where they were attacking the Antagons. Now with that, our loud cinematic, whose volume I can apparently do nothing about. So it looks like somebody's having a bad day. And that's what we're going to now.
Confederates are in a state of panic about the Antiguan revolt. I'm picking up a high number of Confederate transmissions going back and forth between their outposts and their headquarters on Tarsonis. Most of the transmissions are heavily coded. But wait, here's something.
This is General Duke calling from Alpha Squadron flagship NORAD 2. We crash landed and are being hit hard by the Zerg. Request immediate backup from anyone receiving this signal. Repeat, this is a priority 1 distress call.
Zerg? Here? Serves them right. About time they got a taste of what it's like to be in there mixing it up.
Jim, I want you to move in and save that base.
I'm positive I didn't hear that right.
Arcturus, have you lost your mind?
Listen, I know Duke's a cold-hearted bastard, but an entire colony shouldn't have to suffer for that. Besides, a Confederate general could prove to be a powerful ally. This is an opportunity we cannot miss.
I don't like this at all.
I'm not asking you to like it. I'm asking you to do it.
Yes, sir.
Great. Let's get this over with.
Okay, so our objectives here is to protect the battlecruiser NORAD 2, and then bring Raynor and 2 dropships to the battlecruiser NORAD 2. So we're saving a Confederate outpost from the Zerg. The Zerg that they have so far refused to help us with. Well, we're ingratiating ourselves with them. So let's get that SCV repairing the burning down engineering bay, because kind of important. And then out here, let's make sure that nothing gets killed. So we're real short on resources to start out. So there is technically a way to cheese this mission. I'm not going to do that. We're actually playing these missions more or less as they were intended. More or less. As noted by the survival mission earlier, where we decided to take the fight to them. But it means I'm not going to be abusing any loopholes, not going to be abusing the AI too much, nothing like that.
This is Jimmy. This should be good.
So, we are going to fight our way through the Zerg
Orders received.
to get to the battlecruiser. Because as you can probably guess, around here there's a whole lot of Zerg. So if I just fly a dropship over that, well, it's not going to end very well. So let's get this base up and running. As they start us with all of 2 SCVs, it's not going to get us very far.
SCV good to go, sir. Affirmative.
And we don't have the resources to repair the battlecruiser right now. We actually need gas for that.
Not enough minerals.
So let's get some gas flowing.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
SCV good to go, sir. Right away, sir.
Alright, we're starting to get to the point where we're actually keeping up with production. So we're getting close to where we can start concentrating on other things than building SCVs.
I read you.
So let's get him on gas. We have 2 on gas now.
SCV good to go, sir.
So we should have enough resources to at least repair this Goliath.
Systems functional.
Given that it's the lifeline up there.
SCV good to go, sir.
Go ahead, Terran.
Report.
He can repair the battlecruiser.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
And he can do the same. It takes a lot to repair this thing, but
Yes, sir.
thankfully we've got the SCVs there to do so. And once they're done with the repairs, you get them to hide in the bunkers.
SCV good to go, sir. Affirmative.
Alright.
Right away, sir.
Some awkwardly placed buildings. Got a bunker that doesn't really cover everything and no choke point.
Yes, sir.
So,
Your forces are under attack.
yeah, this is why we repaired our Goliath earlier.
SCV good to go, sir. Reporting for duty.
Periodically, the Zerg will be attacking this location.
Channel open.
Orders, Captain. Yes,
And if we don't repair everything, they eventually will get overrun.
SCV good to go, sir. Affirmative.
So a lot of Terran buildings can lift off and move around. It's a big advantage of the
Base is
the
under
Terran.
attack.
Standing by.
SCV good to go, sir. Reporting for duty.
So we're going to move this to a more convenient location.
Affirmative.
And then we're going to start our upgrades at that point. So once again, we're going to be going Marine heavy. With scarce little of anything else, really. So let's get our Marines upgraded.
SCV good to go, sir.
And start building some. Probably want to put some guys in these bunkers.
SCV good to go, sir. Right away, sir. You want a piece of me, boy? Orders, Captain.
Well, let's get a bunch of these barracks going.
SCV good to go, sir.
Move the rally points out of the way.
Piece of me, boy. Reporting for duty. Right away, sir.
Get an academy going.
For duty.
should probably put some Marines in the other bunker too. There are already Marines in the other bunker. We're okay. Alright, never mind then.
Go, go, go.
Systems functional.
Job's finished. You want a piece of me, boy?
So we keep her going. Just keep that production steady.
Reporting for duty. I read you. Job's finished.
And after we have a dozen Marines or so,
Want a piece of me, boy?
we can begin thinking of moving out. Less than that, they're not going to be able to handle much of a threat that comes their way. As per usual, we're upgrading Marine range first.
Go ahead, piece of me, boy. Job's finished. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Reporting for duty. Affirmative finished. Roger that.
Alright.
Yes, sir. Commander.
You might notice when we click a building, you can actually see the rally point light up right inside the pile of Marines there. Now we're going to bring an SCV here with us, because there should be another base location just up here. Save up a few resources so I can make another base to get more resources, because we're starting to run out over here. Alright. One thing about fighting up a ramp like that, when you attack something that's on the high ground, you actually have a miss chance. There's a 20% chance, if I recall correctly, that the unit just full-on misses. Now, obviously that's no good. It might be 25% or some such. So, it's always advantageous to try to get yourself up the ramp on even ground with them. So we're going to build a command center up there, and be glad that we filled in that bunker.
Systems functional.
You want a piece of me, boy?
Call out.
We're going to keep the Goliath on the front line.
Roger that.
Bring that second SCV up there, because we're going to be putting some defenses in place.
Give me something to shoot. Rock and roll.
And as soon as there's a small defense in place up there, we can start moving forward some more.
Orders, Captain? Go ahead, Commander. Orders, Captain? You want a piece of me, boy?
With patience, moving forward in this isn't all that difficult. But it's very tempting to jump the gun, and when you do, usually things end pretty disastrously. So let's build a bunker down here. Keeping an eye, do I need anything? Let's get more Marines going. Our supply count is good. Let's get this guy up here mining minerals as well. Okay. I brought 4 Marines for exactly this purpose. Now, one common tactic is to put a supply depot in front of your bunker. This actually stops melee units from being able to directly attack the bunker, while still forcing them to come into range of the bunker. Now, we're not going to block it completely, but it's something that's actually worth doing, especially against Zerg, or Protoss, really. The problem with doing it against Terran is that they have a lot of long-ranged units. Basically everything but the fire bat attacks at quite the range. So let's get everybody up there, because we're going to try to bypass the front door. Because the front door is a choke point with some static defense. It's not the best place to be attacking into. Alright, that's enough chasing the enemy. And the Zerg Queen ends up throwing her mucus all over.
Upgrade complete.
Let's put a missile turret just to be on the safe side. And let's get these Marines going up here. So these Mutalisks don't actually deal that much damage, but they're fast and they fly, which in itself is a bit of a problem. But enough Marines really takes care of that quickly. Let's get some more production going. Okay, we're still doing okay on resource. Where are those Hydralisks going? I guess we're gonna need to make another bunker or something.
Your forces are under attack.
So I wasn't exactly expecting that. But at least the forces were not too far away. And we didn't actually lose any SCVs.
Your forces are under attack.
So let's build a bunker up here. We've got our 4 Marines that'll act. It will be the key force in there. Let's just keep it going. Now, if I recall correctly, yeah, you can actually come at the base from up here. And there's a Zerg base down there. We are going to be doing something about that. But first, let's take care of this one up here, instead of having to deal with ramps. Let's see how well our Marines can deal.
Your forces are under attack.
Let's just say they're not dealing very well. But that's okay. Marines are not expensive, so we're just gonna keep making more. To fulfill the mission objectives, we are going to need dropships, aren't we? So while this is happening, we should probably get a starport. Well, that attack was ill-fated. So we're just going to do another one. I'm not entirely certain what this guy's doing down here, but well, no harm done, I suppose. No harm to me, anyway. So let's keep her going. Let's take an SCV, repair that bunker, and we are starting to run out of resources over here. But that's okay, because we're actually fairly well covered in our Marine count. So we are going to finish off that base that we just started attacking. And we're going to keep the Marines coming. The maximum size for a control group is 12. So every time we get to 12, we're moving out a new group. Once again, 1998 era controls and such. But we'll make it work. So as we move on to that base,
Your forces are under attack.
These guys have arrived to reinforce. And so we have them all in 12-man control groups. And have them all moving forward one after another. The Zerg Hive, the core building of the Zerg base. You get rid of that, they can't build units anymore. Granted, you get rid of their overlords, they don't get any supply to build units with anyway, so. The orange base is the one that, oops. The orange base is the one that has the defense around the target area. The blue one is the one that attacks you. So what we're gonna do is have these two groups of Marines just attack into the base that's being a problem, while the other group is gonna go after the defenses and the objective. So these are definitely sacrificial Marines. Now I could go around and just finish off every little thing, but that would take a good bit longer, and well, we don't really need to do that. So we don't need to babysit them, they're going to do a decent job, and they may or may not succeed. So these spore colonies here are the reason that we can't just fly our dropships in. Well, part of the reason. Because the spore colonies are actually anti-air static defense from the Zerg. There are also various flying units that can attack, well, our dropships and eat them out of the sky, but quick. These Scourge here. It occurs to me I should probably build those dropships, because we're at the point where we'll be finishing the mission. And if I don't have dropships, I can't finish the mission. Despite the fact that there are no Zerg left. So the objective is to bring Raynor and 2 dropships to this beacon over here. So let's get Raynor next to the rally point for the dropships. Well, it looks like our other group did pretty well over here. The Zerg base is gone. And if I had needed it, I could use their base location as a new base for more resources. But at this point, it's just a matter of getting the objective complete. So that's 1 dropship. Let's just get it over here. And as soon as this one finishes, we're going to pick up Raynor, head over to the beacon, and that'll be the end of it. That's also where we're going to end it for tonight.
Can I take your order?
As soon as we get Raynor over there, that'll be the end of the mission, and we're going to cut it there.
Go ahead, HQ. In the 5.
To unload him onto the beacon, and enjoy our little ending cutscene. Oh, scene.
You're about the last folks I expected to show up. What's your angle here, Minsk?
Our angle? I'll give you an angle, you slimy Confederate piece of shit.
Jim, enough. I'll handle this. The Confederacy is falling apart, Duke. Its colonies are in open revolt. The Zerg are rampaging unchecked. What would have happened here today if we hadn't shown up?
Your point.
I'm giving you a choice. You can return to the Confederacy and lose, or you can join us and help save our entire race from being overrun by the Zerg. I don't think it's a difficult decision.
Join forces with you? I'm a general, for God's sake.
A general without an army. I'm offering you a position in my cabinet, not just some
And so in rescuing them, we have now acquired a new general. So things are coming together. So we are going to end this right here, without going too far into what happens next. And I want to thank you all for joining. And probably next week we're going to be continuing. We're going to pick up right where we left off. We'll probably be finishing the Terran campaign. We'll see how fast I'm making it through the missions at that point. So once again, thank you all for joining, and if you like the content, make sure to follow either here on Twitch, or I will put the content up on YouTube as well under Singularity Gaming. So with that, I wish you all the greatest of evenings. Thank you very much.